So you should pursue your dreams, and even if you fail, you might fail once, you might fail twice, but you will eventually, you should learn from your mistakes and succeed. I would like to thank Institute of Engineering and Management and Smart Society USA for inviting me to share my story at the Smart Power Talks Inspirations Personified. I would like to share my story with all of you. Hello, I am Debanjan Das, just a day short of turning 18. I recently passed my board exams of class 12 CBSE, and you might think that why is it so special, as thousands of students pass their board exams every year. Well, if you have seen the papers carefully last week, you might have seen my name as I was the regional topper of CBSE. I am from South Point High School and studied under the humanities stream. So you might believe that so he is a topper and he must have been a topper throughout his life. No. So if someone sees my previous report cards of my primary school or even my secondary school, it would be hard to digest that he has scored a 98.6% in his board exams to top the eastern region. Well, let me start from my childhood and how this transition took place. So I had a very carefree childhood, as I was never pressurized to study, and nor was I too inclined towards studies. I was never forced by my parents to study and perform well academically, and as they were more concerned about my development and health, they never pestered me to study for my exams or some exams, and it was completely out of my will whether I wanted to study or not. I was a pretty average student, and neither was I excellent in any of the co-curricular activities. Though I loved swimming, and I never performed like an expert in it. So my sole focus was on academics only, as I was not good at singing, dancing, sports or anything else. But I never took academics seriously till my secondary school, when in class 6 there was a circular that was given to us which stated that our performance in classes 6 to 8 would determine whether we would be promoted to class 9. As an anxious and fidgety child, it caused a lot of worry in me, as I thought that I was surely going to not be promoted. I was sure that someone who was as average as me would never be promoted to class 9. So that warning came as a reality check for me, as I started giving more and more focus to academics. Well, I scored well, but not enough to be called an excellent student or a topper or something. So it happened that in class 6, 7, 8 I scored well, but not very high marks as you would expect from a topper to score. So, and at the same time I saw my sister giving her Madhyamik exam and how she doubled her efforts to study, as she was also an average student initially but scored really well in the Madhyamik exam, and I was motivated by her to do well in academics, as I saw how everybody was focusing too much on her Madhyamik, and well, in India, as we all know, the focus is given mainly to academics and less to anything else. So these two things helped me to focus more on academics and perform well in my exams. So at the same time, there was a catch in this. Though my grades improved, but I showed a greater inclination towards the social sciences rather than the physical and biological sciences. So as we all know, in India there is a mindset that, okay, so you are a good student, you have to take up science, as you know, humanities is something for the weaker students who have, as there is no scope in it. It is for those who could not get chance in the science stream, and they end up taking humanities, and you cannot do anything in humanities. But so when people asked me about what I would want to become, what I would want to do later in my life, or which is my favorite subject and I told that how I wanted to proceed further with history. So they laughed at me and said, obviously you will change your decisions 2 or 3 years later when you will go to class 11. And these experts told me that, okay, you cannot do anything in humanities. Why bother taking a stream where you cannot do anything? I did not answer them back. I never thought so, and nor did my parents, who motivated to pursue what I was interested in, as it was evident that if I pursue my interest, I would definitely succeed. So when the option forms for class 10 were given, I, without battling an eyelid, chose humanities. Again, I was greeted with, well, what should I say, statements on how humanities stream is for the weak. I was a good student, and why should I take up humanities? It came from, well, distant relatives whom I met maybe once or twice a year, friends, and even some teachers. So, and that too, I have taken humanities without mathematics. So I would not do anything. I mean, according to them, I would not achieve anything. I would get no jobs, or I cannot perform well. Anyway, in class 11, in class 11, I gradually started developing my interest, and I felt highly interested in my academics. Though it was in the morning, though it was a morning school, but I loved to attend the classes, and I also began to cultivate a love for my studies. Also, I read a lot of books, be it fiction, non-fiction, etc., which aided me in this process of getting good marks. In class 11, because I cultivated my interest, I scored really well, and I even scored a perfect 100 in history, which was a record of sorts in our school, as none till date had got 100 in our school in a higher secondary section. Even the science teachers began to inquire about me, about how could he get such a good score in history in the higher secondary level. Anyway, so and I topped the stream as well. So because of getting such high marks, there were also equally high expectations from me that I should do really well in my board exams. These expectations from teachers, friends, even those relatives, and also from my parents, though they never showed it really. So it was a tremendous pressure on me, and I knew that being the hyped thing Indian board exams are, I needed to perform well. So I started pulling up my socks from the very beginning of the academic session. I studied throughout the year from the very beginning, and I worked hard. I never compromised with my studies, but at the same time, you would expect me to study for 12 to 14 hours a day to score such a high percentage. But I did not study so much, because I always studied whenever I wanted. I always believed in studying better, studying more to studying better. I always believed that I should understand the concepts well and remember, rather than studying for 12 to 14 hours a day without any concentration or anything. I never followed a routine as such. Also, I saw many people, many of my classmates and their parents are freaking out over their boards, and they started giving up their phones, their laptops, deleting their social media accounts. But I never gave up my phone. My phone acted as a stress buster for me, because I was able to watch a lot of movies, shows, and also listen to music, surf the internet whenever I wanted, watch news. It was a source of entertainment for me, and it was a relief from studies. After I studied for long, I always studied for around 1 hour at a stretch, 2 hours at a stretch, and then took a half an hour break, and so on. Now, I also practiced a lot of questions. I wrote a lot of questions and answers, and that helped me a lot in the board exams as well. I practiced a lot of question papers as well, and in the last 3 months, that is after the school got over, it was a period where I worked very hard to plug holes in wherever I was weak. So it happened, and slowly and very quickly the exams came knocking at the door. It was already March, and on the 2nd of March I had my English exam. Well, the English exam did not go as well as I had expected, and well, it was a setback for me because I had worked worked very hard for improving my English score. So at this time I felt a bit dejected and disappointed with myself. But my parents always told me to treat it as any other exam, as it was nothing special, as getting low in the board exam is not the end of the road for anyone, because life would throw up opportunities from time to time. Well, anyway, I put it behind me and focused on the remaining papers, and because I worked hard on those, it really went well. Though I was quite relieved that the exams were finally over and I could finally be at peace, but peace did not come easily, as I was always bombarded by thoughts every day after the exam that what if I had not tied my answer script properly? What if I had not understood the question correctly? What if I had written my roll number wrong? What if something or the other happens? What if my copy gets lost? So, and I knew that CBSE might declare the result any day, as it is known for its surprises. But tentatively it was told that the 3rd week of May the results would be declared. But one fine afternoon in May, on 2nd May, there were at 12:30, I suddenly got a notification that okay, the results had been declared. So it was a great shock for me, as suddenly they declared the results, and I somehow got hold of my admit card and asked my sister to check my result, and she told me that I had scored 98.6%. I never believed her, and I told her that it must be somebody else's marks. You are confusing someone else with me. But I myself checked it twice or thrice. She rechecked it, and well, it was true that I indeed had scored 493 in my board exams. I was shocked and also, well, extremely satisfied that my hard work had paid off. What acted as a cherry on the cake was suddenly in the afternoon, I got a phone call from the Times of India, and who informed me that I had topped the Eastern Zone, which consists of 3 or 4 states altogether. So, I mean, I never expected all this to happen to me. So, I mean, obviously it was shocking, and throughout the day, it will be an unforgettable day for me, as throughout the day I received so many phone calls from everyone, from media outlets to teachers, to friends, to relatives. So many people called me. Now, and also to my utter shock, a few days later I received a letter from the Chief Minister. So you might have, I mean, I was completely overwhelmed. So I don't know what happened. Even if somebody had told me 2 weeks back that okay, you will be getting so and so, you will be the regional topper, I would be laughing at them. I would be shocked. I would feel disgusted that no, they are making fun of me and all. So here I am now. So I believe that hard work always pays off. Hard work, there is no shortcut to hard work, and also at the same time you should pursue what you like, pursue your interests, because if you pursue something which you find interesting, you are bound to succeed in it. Also at the same time, you should not listen to what others say. People who don't matter to you, what they say is something you should not listen to, as they are out there only to criticize you. I believe that hard work always pays off, and I also believe that everybody should pursue what they like, because it is bound to bring about success. And also, if one fails in one attempt, they should also they should take it a number of times, as we should learn from our mistakes, and as we all know, failures are the pillars of success. Also, I would like to tell everyone that we should not listen to what people who don't matter say, as there would always be people who would constantly criticize you, and this kind of unwarranted criticism is bad for you, and it is always necessary to pursue what you want, as you are your best judge. Thank you.